Okay, so just to reiterate very, very quickly, what we just spoke about Canvas, and what you're going to find there, you will find the syllabus, all my PowerPoint presentations, the pre-recorded video lectures that I did, at least the web links to them, all those highly recommended review questions that I talked about, why we were doing them, why I recommend them, and so forth. Any announcements, emails, again, twice a day you should be checking that. I will check 2 to 3 times a day, every day. I don't care if it is Super Bowl Sunday, I will be checking that, or Valentine's Day. My wife won't be too happy with that, but I will check 2 to 3 times a day, every day, okay? All the laundry lists of all those lab structures, again, I will print them out so that you have them, but you could always get a second copy here if you lose it. Any online quizzes and exams, if your semester has those, you'll find them over there. And like I said, the best way, the really only way to contact me is through that Canvas mail area, okay? All right, so the course objectives, just look at it on your page. It's probably around page 7, 8 on your syllabus or so. So just take a look at that, read them on your own. They're pretty straightforward. All right, so the course schedule, and that's usually on pages maybe 9 and 10, okay? I just want to give you some highlights. First off, there's always holidays or holiday breaks that happen in semesters. I just want to let you know that if Massasoit is closed, if Massasoit Community College is closed on a certain holiday or holiday break, I will never have a due date for a certain assignment when that happens, and no exam will be given on days where there is a holiday or a holiday break, and Massasoit is closed. Okay, do understand that some due dates will fall on a Saturday or Sunday. I know Massasoit's closed on Sunday, but that's not really a holiday. I wouldn't do Easter, that kind of thing. But some due dates may be extended to skip over that holiday and be, if you have, let's say, President's Day where the college is closed on a Monday, and normally I would give an exam on a Monday. Now I have to give it on Tuesday, so it'll be on the next day, so to say. All right. You will see where it says course schedule in your syllabus. You will note there if there's any exams or quizzes that are going to be done online. You will see it on there. And also on the next page, a very colorful page. On the top it says A and P, and then it says what semester it is and so forth. A lot of colors on there. The dates noted in red, those are the dates that we are actually going to be meeting in person on campus. So I highlighted those, okay? And I also highlighted certain days that we are going to have lecture exams that are virtual. You will see the word virtual or some kind of note there saying that it's going to be done by a Zoom session, okay? The lecture and lab material will not correlate very well with A&P1. It's not me, it's just nationwide, it's like that. Neurology, like I said, it's got like 5 chapters, whereas muscles only have 1 chapter, at least in the lecture version. But for the lab in neurology, there's only 2 labs for neurology. On lectures, there's 6 chapters. So I don't want to have you just do muscles for, let's say, 1 week, unless you're in an accelerated course. But I need you to have a little bit more time with that but we need to go further with the lecture of neurology. So it's kind of split into 2, all right? There's nothing you could do. As opposed to A&P2, that works pretty well where it correlates the lab with the lecture, meaning that if you're doing a digestive system in lecture, you're probably doing the digestive system in lab. But in A&P1, it ventures off into 2 tracks, and it's going to start feeling like you're taking 2 courses, okay? It's just the way it's going to be set up. So I'm sorry about that in advance, okay? So that's what's happening. Now, lab material, a lot of lab material we're going to have. I'm going to give you the laundry list of the structures you need to know. But there's certain subjects that will not be tested in lecture, but it will be tested in the lab only. Now, histology, the actual histology, as I told you, is a study of tissues when cells are all glued together. And there's a number of different tissues that you're going to see. And we're going to use the microscopes to do that. So the microscope slides and questions about the microscope slides and what you're seeing, that is, that's going to be found, that's going to be tested in the lab, okay? But the theory stuff can be also tested in lecture. For instance, and don't worry about the names that I'm going to give you. Pseudostratified epithelium tissue is found where in the body? Now, that kind of question can be asked in lab or lecture. I could just ask that and have a multiple choice for lecture, but I could have a picture of it, a microscope slide of a tissue, and say this tissue is usually found in what part of the body. Now, you got to think that, okay, this is pseudostratified epithelium tissue. Where would that be found? Oh, it's found in, let's say, the bronchi of the lungs. So, yeah, that kind of thing. So the pictures themselves are going to be in lab, whereas the multiple choice questions will be in lecture. Bones, the actual names of the bones, like the femur, the humerus, and the parts of them, that's going to be found in lab, the actual names. But the theory of how bone forms, the physiology more or less, is going to be in lecture, okay? And it's also the same for muscle names, like you have the biceps and what's the action of the biceps. That's actually going to be taught and assessed in lab, not lecture. In lecture, you're going to do more of the physiology. How does a muscle contract? How does rigor mortis actually occur? That kind of thing. But the names of them, it's more, I would say more anatomy is in lab and more physiology is in lecture. Not all, but most of it. So you got to look at it that way, okay? All right, lecture versus lab. Lecture is worth 65% of your grade, and lab is worth 35% of your grade, okay? I'm on like page 11 or 12 in your syllabus. This is the Massasoit Community College's numerical grade equivalence, pretty straightforward. And there's no curve, okay? There's no curve on things. Lecture tests. Okay, so we have 5 component lecture exams. It'll be 50 questions if you are taking the lecture exam online. If there's no online exam or you're taking it in person, then it varies anywhere from 50 to 65 questions. Okay, you may have all of them online. You may not have all of them. They may all be in person. It depends on what semester and holidays and how many times we meet. I have to like squeeze things in. So anyway, there's 5 component exams. I do drop the lowest graded one. All right, so that's a good thing. There is one comprehensive final exam. Everything from day 1 until final exam will be in there. This can't be dropped. That will be 100 questions on there. And no exam could be made up, no exceptions. And that's because if you're going to be absent for one day, that'll be the one that you drop, okay? We also have something called Anatomy Quest. Now, Quest is not like a journey in this case. It's more or less a hybrid of something called a quiz and a test, so I created a Quest. It's so we wouldn't get confused. Is this a quiz? Is this a test? Well, it doesn't follow the same rules as a quiz or a test, but so I call it a Quest. Basically, and I'll tell you more as we get closer to this, but it's a test that, oh, here I'm using the word. It's an assessment, there's a good word. It's an assessment of basic anatomical and directional terms and actions like flexion, extension. I need you to know this stuff cold. And what I mean by that, if I ask you what color is a banana, you're going to say, what? Yeah, yellow, right? If I say, what color is a strawberry? Red. You need to know it cold. You can't be thinking about it. So that's what this is. It's one of the easier tests to do. and they're pretty straightforward kind of questions. You could answer these things. Usually most students get this done in 20 to 25 minutes, even though it's 50 questions. But I need you to know this stuff cold before we get into the bones and muscles of lab, because we're going to build on that stuff, okay? So historically, these are easier and quicker to answer, even though there's 50 questions. You either know it or you don't. Most people are done in 20 to 25 minutes, but I'll give you 35 minutes to do this, okay? And the quest can't be dropped, all right? Now, I also have a bonus quiz. However, it depends on your semester, okay? If you have 2 or more online lecture exams, then yes, you get a bonus quiz, okay? Now, the reason why, it's not that I'm picking favorites over here, but an online quest can also count as one of these online exams. The reason why is there's no way I can add bonus questions on an exam in Canvas. However, if you're taking exams live, you will always get bonus questions on there. So it's just the opposite. I would pick favoritism for my students live in person if I didn't do this bonus quiz. So I would say if you're doing more, 2 or more online lecture exams, including the quest, because that normally has bonuses on there. And then, by the way, the bonus questions are not anything harder or easier than the rest of the tests. It's just more questions kind of thing. So that's when we do the bonus quiz. So again, check to see if you have 2 or more, and then yes, we will have a bonus quiz on there. If you have the bonus quiz, it'll be 60 questions. I'll give you 65 minutes to do it. You'll have a time frame of 3 to 5 days to do it, but in one sitting. And it occurs just prior to the final lecture exam, okay? It is comprehensive. Think of it as a mini version of the lecture of the final exam, okay? Claiming all 30 points, all right? Because it's 60 questions, but they're 30, think of each question worth half a point, and I'll give you 30 points. If you do that, you'll get 3 percentage points. If you get all of them correct, you'll get 3 percentage points added on, okay? It won't hurt your grade in any way. It can only help it. It's a good opportunity to see your strengths and weaknesses just before a final exam, and the bonus quiz cannot be made up because you have those 3 to 5 days to do it, no exceptions, okay?